Hello, good afternoon. It's time for business, and trading's begun for Singapore's largest listing in 8 years. Its stock now trading a couple of cents above its offer price of $1. Valued at $773 million, the trust NTT DC REIT counts Singapore's sovereign wealth fund, GIC, as a cornerstone investor, and it's backed by Japan's telecom giant NTT. Its Singapore public offer was 9.8 times oversubscribed. It received application monies totaling some $376 million, and it was around 4.6 times oversubscribed. The international placement was $1 per unit, while the Singapore public offer was at $1.276 per unit. The IPO is expected to give a much-needed boost to the Singapore exchange, which has seen lackluster interest for major listings in recent years.
We're seeing an increase in activity. As you've seen, the STI index that's at an all-time high. With the efforts collectively by the review group and the market ecosystem, there's clearly optimism amongst the issuers that we're speaking to, whether internationally, regionally, or locally.
And with us now is CNA's Roland Lim, who's live at SGX, and he's about to speak with a man at the helm of NTT Global Data Centers, the president and CEO, Doug Adams. Tell us about it, Roland.
Thanks, Jasmine. Yes, Doug Adams, CEO, president, NTT DC REIT, is here with me to talk all about the debut and what's next for the company. Doug, good to have you on the show. First off, congratulations on this great debut. I mean, it's the largest REIT IPO in Singapore in over a decade, so that's made some headlines. What made SGX the right platform for DC NTT to go public?
So first, Roland, thank you so much for having me on your show. Appreciate it. We looked at a lot of different vehicles. We looked at American REITs. We looked at Japanese REITs, obviously as being a Japanese company. We quickly honed in on the Singapore REITs. And this is a long process. We've done this we've been about 2 years in the making for this REIT, believe it or not. What we found attractive about the Singapore REITs is a few things. One, we are able to bolt this onto our capital structure and still manage the infrastructure, which was important to us. Singapore REITs are actually very receptive to global assets. We're the third largest global data center provider, and so having a REIT that is interested in having global assets was important to us. Japanese REITs really don't like that. US REITs is the same way. In addition to that, with the Singapore REIT, you go out with your initial IPO and then you drip feed assets over time. US REITs don't really like that. They want to have one big REIT and they don't want to have continued use of assets being fed into it. And so for us, we're in a very scale-oriented business. Data centers, when I started 25 years ago, were 10 megawatts. Now they're approaching 100 megawatts. Our largest facilities are actually 100 megawatts. That's enough to power 100,000 homes. With that scale comes scale for people, for supply chain, and for capital. So we spend about $3 billion a year building our portfolio, and having access to the Singapore REIT is very strategic to us.
Okay. Tell us about investor reception that you've had leading up to the IPO. I mean, your unit price is currently trading just a couple of cents above its debut or IPO price of $1 US. Tell us about, does this match your expectations on the first day?
Yeah, I mean, I think that given the macroeconomics and what's happening within the globe, we're very excited about this REIT launch. I think investors are looking for stable assets that have a good return, that have a global risk portfolio. And so from our perspective, we're pleased. And I think we're going to continue to see this success.
And how do you plan to continue to deliver value as well as stable returns to your unit holders?
So we've got in our facility, again, our portfolio, we have 150 data centers in 21 different countries. So we're right now looking at which assets we're going to put into this S-REIT over time. We think that's a very important way to increase the value and diversify the portfolios by drip feeding assets into it over time.
Okay. Your REIT supports your long-term growth strategy in Asia and beyond. Give us your take or outlook, really, on data centers in Asia particularly. How fast a market is it growing?
So the data center market is amazing. The tailwinds from AI and from cloud have been propelling it for the last 5 to 10 years. We've seen an incredible turn within the last 2 years just because of AI. The CAGR 2 years ago for growth, for 5-year CAGR, was 13.5%. The new CAGR is projected at 23%, and that's based mostly on AI. So although most of the AI we're seeing is getting installed in the US at this point, it's starting to transfer into India. We're starting to see it transfer into Asia. So we're very bullish on the outlook for Asia in general because the cloud market's expanding faster than the rest of the world. There's a tremendous, the adoption's not as high. So we think there's a lot of opportunity for cloud. And then AI, everything that you see, every product you buy is being powered by AI, and we just see further expansion within that.
Okay. And valuation-wise, your dividend yields are pretty attractive. Some analysts have said 7 to 7.5% returns. How do you achieve that?
So data centers are a very predictable, very profitable asset class. We sign long-term contracts with our customers. Our customers are mostly AAA, triple B credit-rated type companies, and we're signing between 5-year and 15-year contracts. So if you look at our WALE, our weighted average for our contracts, it's just a little under 5 years. We also have a 96% occupancy rate across our portfolio. Within the assets that we're injecting into this S-REIT, it's actually 97%. So you have high occupancy, and you have long-term contracts with large AAA credit-rated companies. That equates to us being able to have a lower risk profile and have a very strong return.
And what's your vision in terms of expanding this portfolio? Acquisitions in the roadmap?
So we do mostly self-builds. We do acquisitions occasionally, but we've got a gigawatt of infrastructure land banked. So what I mean by that is, over the last year alone, we land banked $1 billion of property around the globe that has either immediate power available or power over the next couple of years available. We will use that land to develop assets on our balance sheet, and then once they're stabilized, we'll inject them into the S-REIT.
Okay, Doug, we appreciate your time, and thank you for sharing your expansion plans.
Thank you so much.
And that was Doug Adams, President and CEO, NTT DC REIT. And that's a wrap for us here at the SGX Center. Yasmin, back to you.